at this fucking thing. Why would you buy this as a gift? This is maybe like a white elephant gift, a joke fucking gift, chat. You wouldn't buy this for anybody. This is a nightmare. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content on my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games, I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video. But now, my friends, we gotta go ahead and get into this review. Annabelle, the film, chat, not the doll, not the character. No, she got her own spin-off movie. Apparently, chat, The Conjuring was such a success in 2013. It was a huge fucking hit, chat. It was made for like $20 million or maybe even less than that. Went on to make like $320+ million, killed on VOD, commercial and critical success, and it birthed, chat. It front pooped out the Conjuring universe, one of the most successful horror franchises currently going on right now. Little James Wan's little baby. And the next film in the franchise, chat, was Annabelle, who had made her debut in The Conjuring, chat. Actually, the movie opens up with Annabelle and all her little antics or lack of antics, chat. People were just so fucking freaked out by the way that doll looked, and it's a creepy fucking doll, which always, makes me say, who would ever want to buy that for their significant other or their daughter? Because, I don't want to, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense, but they do anyway. They do anyway, chat. And it spawned this movie. It spawned Annabelle, chat, which, I'm going to hold back for right now because I'm going to kind of go into details about this film, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. But, chat, I have to ask you a very important question. How many of you have seen the original 2014 Conjuring sequel, prequel, spin-off, Annabelle? Very curious about this, chat. DT, Dark Thing with my bitch, just buy the kid a damn Barbies. I know, I'm right there with you. Ran double. I finished the first massive recently. It was a solid game. Also, Liara. Woo! You like that, Liara? I like that blue babe. I understand, man. She's a cutie patootie. I'm right there with you. Ran, pleasure to have you here right now. Good to see you. Thank you. Hamiltonburg, I've not seen it. Guess what? I have not. Ran. I've not seen it. Axel, have not. This is interesting, chat. A lot of you seem to have not seen this. Fat Brown Ninja. Nope. D Dark Star, hell no. Adman, I'll save some time and say I've never seen any of these movies. Fair enough. Okay, there you go. Boom. Nailed it. You've never seen them? No, any woman? Unfortunately, yes, my eyes have yet to forgive me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your eyes and you and your corporeal form. I saw it in theaters. My little brother's birthday. Interesting. I'm sorry. I apologize. Sorry you had to go through that with your little brother. Oh, boy. So it seems like, most of you seem to not have seen this. And only a couple of you have. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to save you some fucking time. Don't see this movie. This film, I was talking about yesterday, it's interesting, with The Conjuring. It's like the Conjuring universe. I'm not the biggest fan of ghost movies, of haunted house films. I just think they do the same fucking thing. Exorcism movies, they do the same thing over and over and over again. It's the same goddamn tropes. But I remember, when I first saw The Conjuring, oh, no, that movie was good. I really liked it. And watching it again, I'm like, it's fine, but it's just doing all the things that I'm just bored by with a lot of these movies. The thing is, though, chat, after rewatch, because, much like a lot of people, many people, I did see this in theaters back in 2014. By the way, the movie was a huge commercial success. Had a budget of $6.5 million, which I definitely believe because this movie looks fucking cheap. And had a profit, chat. Had a box office of $257.6 million, chat. $250 million fucking dollars, which is, I'm like, wow, very impressive. Commercially, I get that. Just pure, cold, hard cash. Respect that. But in terms of as a film, of a horror movie, definitely one of the most boring, just banal horror films I think I've seen in the previous decade. You are not missing a goddamn thing. Because not only does it do all the horror tropes that you would expect, because all these movies start out the same way when it comes to ghost films. They start out kind of like fucking with the homeowners or whatever, like pulling pranks and like turning the lights back on and off and opening creaking doors. Like, they do that. But that's like the first third of the movie. And then they inevitably start fucking the family, start doing really violent shit, towards the 2/3 mark and all the way into the last third. They do that. Annabelle only pulls pranks and does like, the banal shit, I'd say, for the majority of the film, like 3/4 of it. And it's not until like the last 25 minutes of the movie, which this movie's about an hour and a half, maybe even less than that, but it feels so much longer than The Conjuring because it's just boring bullshit you've seen before, and it's not interesting whatsoever. Like, literally, chat, like the big horror scenes in this movie is a sewing machine flicking on again. Like, I just turned that sewing machine off, and now it turned back on again. Ah! I'm not joking. That is a scene of horror in this film. I closed that door and I locked it, and the fucking door opened again. Ah! That's what it is. And I'm just I follow this boring fucking couple and their big derpy-headed baby for most of it, and you don't care about them because you don't like them. They're just like, life is hard. Husband's a fucking doctor making, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and I have the biggest fucking house and or apartment. Oh, it's just, you just don't give a shit. You don't care. All the characters suck. And Annabelle doesn't do shit. This is where it started. Like, Annabelle does more in The Conjuring than she does in this movie, Chad. And she has like a glorified cameo in The Conjuring. The only thing I appreciate about The Conjuring, because I totally forgot about this, is that she teams up with Baron Bino Tarantino in the middle of the movie. I'm like, that's fucking cool. I totally forgot about that scene. I was like, oh, wow, the ghosts are working together. Like, yeah, we're going to fuck these people up. I like that. Here, she doesn't do anything. I mean, like, she does one thing, but it's not her that's really doing it. But it's just boring shit. Mordecai, thank you so much for the 4 biddies. Oh, sewing. It's horrifying. And thank you. And thank you to DT Darkslayer for the 5 biddies. So the doll's only doing this for payback. Yeah, paycheck, pretty much. She's like, hey man, I'm just gonna sit here and look creepy. That's it. And she looks progressively creepier throughout the whole fucking film. 69 viewers, nice. And let's say, no one's like calling the question. Like, we'll get into it, chat, but the whole idea, like, anyone would buy this doll as a gift for somebody doesn't make any sense to me. As the fucking thing is literally rotting before your eyes. It's like, there's something inside this doll that's causing it to look really gross and shit. No one's ever calling attention to it. No one's ever saying that doll looks creepy. It's like fucking bullshit, and I don't get it. Maybe there's a way to explain why they don't call that out. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I just don't believe you. But no, Chad, this is a waste of fucking time. And you were asking me. You're asking me because I recently did a review and a commentary for Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Chad. One of the it's the worst Mortal Kombat movie. It's one of the absolute worst video game adaptations of all time, Chad. And Annabelle and Mortal Kombat Annihilation share something, Chad. And the thing that they share is the same director. The director is John R. Leonetti, chat. And he actually did the cinematography, the original Conjuring, one of the things I praised. But his cinematography skills were not on display here, chat. Because this guy, his whole career, he's only directed bad movies. He did Mortal Kombat Annihilation. He did The Butterfly Effect 2. He did Annabelle. And he also did a film called Wish Upon, which is also pretty goddamn bad. So this guy is like not great. Maybe a decent cinematographer, a good cinematographer. But, when there's a goddamn fly in here. Goddamn. Fuck you, Fly. You're interrupting my review. I'm gonna kill you, Fly. Pause the review. I'm gonna kill you. It's the Beelzebub is here. It's Beelzebub. She's haunting me. Oh, what an asshole, Fly. Anyway, Chet Goldblum is in the room. It's like, oh, it's so annoying. It's so annoying, Chet. It's gonna be flying around. It's gonna be bothering me the whole goddamn time. Are you gonna slap yourself for 5 minutes? No! Oh, no flies around the naked this stream. They are indeed gonna be harmed. I see that fucking fly. Oh my god, I hate him. Oh, I see him right there. I can hit him, chat. Hold on, give me a second, chat. Pause this. I think I whacked him, chat. Yay! You know what? My battle of this fly is far more interesting than the Annabelle movie, chat. But yes, John Leonetti, he's the director of this movie, and if he has any skills, I don't want to be too mean, but if he had any skills when it came to making the Conjuring, chat, they are not on display here. Even on the technical level, like the film quality is very different to The Conjuring. No, The Conjuring, it used a GoPro camera at times. And it feels like he's constantly using a GoPro camera here because the film quality is like, for all of a sudden, be like, okay, look, okay. And then it's just jarringly bad looking. And we're seeing the perspective of the characters. It's like, this just looks really awful. And I just hated the fucking fly. If this entire stream is Chris chasing the fly, be with that. It might happen. You never know. Hi, Simmer Baby. Welcome to the stream. I'm trying to kill a fly and also do a review for Annabelle. But if any of his skills of cinematography, chat, I mean, listen, he's done some good work for something like The Conjuring, but man, they were not on display with Annabelle, chat. The movie, just the film quality looks cheap. It looks like I don't know what that is. It's some type of digital film, but it's like Sci-Fi Channel original. It has like a Sci-Fi Channel original movie, kind of like aesthetic. Just like the quality and the lighting is really bad in this movie, chat. Like all the horror takes place for the most part in broad fucking daylight, and that's just not scary. It's just like, all right, I mean, I see everything that's fucking happening, and I just don't dig that. It really bothers me, chat. But yeah, overall, it's just a fucking waste of time. Do not watch. I'm telling you right now, chat. Do not watch this movie. Pretty much nothing happens to it. If anything, I encourage you have to watch one of the Annabelle films. At least the ones I've seen. I've not seen the third one. I've not seen Annabelle, whatever that one is called. But I saw the second one, Annabelle Creation, which is a prequel to this movie. That one was actually really fun, entertaining. And Annabelle does some shit. I mean, she's still fucking, but a lot of other stuff happens around Annabelle that I think is really, really fun. So I actually encourage people to check that out. It was directed by David F. Sandberg, who also did Lights Out and Shazam. I think he's working on Shazam 2, Wrath of the Gods, or Fear of the Gods, or something right now. Thank you, Crusader. So the 5 days is the lowest budget of all the Conjuring universe movie, which is weird. Conjuring 1 was a pretty big hit, and you think they'd pump more, but they were like, nope. They were like, well, we don't need to. Maybe they thought we can get away with it. Maybe it's like one of those situations, but oofa, it was awful. This is going to be a short review. Yeah, it's going to be a short review. Nothing happens in this film. Nothing happens in this film, chat. We're going to start right at the fucking beginning. And it's just what you heard before. It's the exact same beginning. It's like a little, I think this is just extra footage that they had. You know what? It is extra footage from The Conjuring, chat, because they bring back those two fucking idiot roommates, those girls, who thinks it's totally fine. Mordecai, think if somebody's great. Chris, your fly is down in my room. No, I'm sorry. I hit him so fucking hard he went to a goddamn other state. I'm sorry, Mordecai. But we're watching the two girls from the previous opening of The Conjuring, chat. I think this is just additional footage that they shot because it looks like they're talking to the Warrens, but we never the Warrens, like Ed and Lorraine Warren, are referenced in this movie, but we never see them. And they're talking to them, but we don't see Patrick Wilson or Vera Farmiga. And it's just the same bullshit we saw last time. It's like, yeah, so my mom got me the doll, and the doll started fucking talking, and we just thought it was so cool. And the doll asked us, Annabelle asked us if it was okay if she can be like our new roommate. And we're like, well, yeah, of course you can, Annabelle. You're so fucking cool. And then she started doing weird shit and clawing on the walls and writing, Miss Me. And she started knocking real loud, just haunting us. But the thing is, first of all, why the mother would buy this creepy fucking thing in the first place is beyond me. It literally looks like it's rotting, like it was painted with lead paint. It's already a health hazard. It looks like if you would touch that, you cut your fucking thumb. They have to cut your thumb off, chat, because you get gangrene. It'd be rotting off of you in 24 hours or something. Why would you buy this? It has this creepy, just fucking... Look at this! Look at this fucking thing. Why would you buy this as a gift? This is maybe like a white elephant gift, a joke fucking gift, chat. You wouldn't buy this for anybody. This is a nightmare. And of course, the original Annabelle doll that the Warrens owned was a Raggedy Ann doll, chat. But James Wan and Co. said, well, we can't it's hard to make a scary movie around a Raggedy Ann doll, so we'll just make it super creepy. But they went too far. There should have been a nice middle ground, and they were like, nope, they did a total nah, we're just gonna go a completely different direction. They went too far, chat, because now it's it's unintentionally funny. It's a joke that anyone would buy this for their significant other, their daughter, whoever else, and be like, oh yeah, you love something like this. It's like, no, you fucking wouldn't. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. It looks demonic as hell, son, baby. Agreed. So that in itself is stupid. But then, chat, we cut and we get the explanation where it's the thing we heard from the last movie where demons and ghosts and poltergeists, they will, possess an inanimate object or a person and act as a conduit and interact with the real world. It's the same thing we heard we saw the last time. And then we cut, and we are now in a church. It's like a year before the events of the original Conjuring, chat. It's 1970, and we are introduced to two couples, chat, and they are fucking boring. The main couple, chat, and funny enough, the actress who's the main actress of the movie is named Annabelle, but her name is actually Mia. It's Mr. and Mrs. Form. It's like, that's a boring name. It's Mia and John Form, chat. And they're getting out of church. Mia, she's super pregnant, chat. The thing is, I noticed something. Like, the size of her belly for, like, the first half hour that she's pregnant is constantly changing shapes. She goes from, like, being 6 months pregnant to then being, like, 9 months and then back to, like, 5 months. Like, can we get, like, a consistent just, like, belly cast for her? Because it's changing constantly. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. So I was like, all right, whatever. But they're sitting in the church, and they got Padre. He's going on about, fucking evil. It's like we're always fighting against it, but, evil exists in all parts of the world. It can even be, in our own homes. It's like, that's a little on the nose, Padre, but okay, sure. And they got a church, and the Forms are talking with the Higgins, chat. And the Higgins, they've been going through, Mr. and Mrs. Higgins, they've been going through a rough patch, chat. They recently lost their daughter, or so they fucking say. And they're like, they're very protective of their young neighbors, especially Mia, since she is so pregnant. She's like waddling like, all the time. It's hard for her to waddle, chat. And eventually they go, they live in like San Pedro, They live in some California city. I think it's like San Pedro, California or something. But they drive home in the same car and stuff. I'm like, oh, thanks, neighbor, for the lift. Oh, of course. Well, you let us know if you need anything, Mia, me and the wife. We want to make sure that you and the little one are going to be okay. And she's like, oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. Goes, yeah. We want the same thing to happen to your little girl that happened to our daughter. And it's like, why would you bring that up all of a sudden? She goes, yeah, whatever happened to your daughter? Like, we don't like to talk about it. But you brought it up, man. And she's like, well, we're going to go ahead and retire for the evening. It's 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Time to get to bed in the next 2 hours, because that's what fucking people did, chat, in 1970 after church on a Sunday afternoon. They went to bed. And so they go to their houses. And Mia and John, this is weird. Like, they're prepping the baby's room, but they don't know what sex the baby's gonna be. They don't know if it's gonna be a boy or a girl. And what's so funny is like, for whatever reason, it's funny because they're also debating on the name. Like, if it's a girl, if it's a boy, they were saying we're going to name him Little John Jr. And if it's a girl, we're going to name her Phyllis. And even the wife is looking at her husband. She's like, Phyllis? She's like, it was my grandma's name. She goes, yeah, and your grandma was fucking born in 1862. We're not going to name our daughter, if that is what she is, if our baby is a girl, Phyllis. Why don't we just name her Esther or Ethel? It's like, what are you talking about, John? Let's name her Phyllis. Let's have her be bullied in fucking school for the rest of it. No offense to any Phyllis's, any Esthers, any Ethels out there in the chat or on YouTube. Like, I don't mean to insult you, but it's like, those names kind of get phased out. And I think, I don't remember when they named the daughter. I think they name her Lori or something. They name her something. I think they name her like Lori or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't matter, Jeff. Doesn't matter. Thank you. I'd rather have no children than name my daughter Phyllis. Yeah. But they're getting the room prep. Now, this is weird to me because they don't know what the sex of the baby's going to be, right? They don't know if it's going to be a boy or a girl. And yet the mother, for whatever reason, has just decided, it's going to be a girl. Because we go to the baby's room, and it's all done up in girl stuff. You got the Playmobil, it's all little girly things and girly dresses. Like, you said you didn't know the gender or the sex of the baby, so why do you have all the? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm like, all right, well, sure, okay, why not? And now I was like, okay, they try to like make you see how the mom would react to Annabelle, because in the baby's room, a shit ton of creepy fucking dolls, like all just lidless eyes and just rictus grins just going, the whole fucking time. It's a goddamn nightmare, chat. I'm just like, I just don't like this. I don't like this. And they're all creepy. And the thing is, any one of these dolls would have been better. Like, they're creepy, but I've seen these kind of dolls like in shops and shit and other people's homes that own these kind of things. It's like, these are believable. Like, these are the things I'm like, okay, I could actually see this making sense and why she would like something like this. But the Annabelle does not fit with any of these fucking things. But the husband comes in there, he's like, hey, how you doing? She's like, I'm fucking pregnant. How you think I'm doing? He's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, hey, I brought you a gift. And he comes in with this big giant fucking box, and he's like, when I saw it, I just thought of you. I just instantly thought of you. And she opens the box, and it's Annabelle just going, just horrible, rictus grin. Now the thing is, though, chat, she's got a little more of a skin color at this point. She's not like moldy or like has weird veins. Her eyes aren't bloodshot. Like she's looking like she's not as pale, but she's still gross as fuck. It's like, if I was the wife, I would very much be insulted if you said, I saw this fucking thing, I instantly thought of you. And it's like, I'm sorry you have such a low opinion of me. I'm like, oh my God. But she takes it out and she's like, it's beautiful. No, it's not. It's hideous. And she's like, I know just the place to put it. And she puts it right in the fucking middle of the shelf. She actually moves some of the other dolls away. Annabelle's like, yeah, get out of my fucking way. She puts it like right there in the middle of the shelf, and it just sits there like that the whole time. And she's like, the baby's gonna love it. The baby's not gonna love it, Chad. The baby's gonna be fucking traumatized when they see this goddamn thing. They're gonna have various psychological issues throughout the rest of their life because they saw that thing ever since they came out of the mom, Chad. Ever since the mom front pooped them out, and they were like, something weird's gonna happen. Or they're going to develop a horrific fetish. We'll see. Either or, Chad. It could be 50-50 in either direction. You never know. But she's like, it's perfect. And then they leave the room. Annabelle's just not doing shit. Just, except you see the typical rocking chair starts rocking. It's like every single one of these movies has, like, watch for this shit. Every single one of these movies has a rocking chair, and they always start rocking by themselves. That's what's always happening. After that, they all go to bed at good old, 6:30 p.m. Central, or Pacific Standard Time, chat, 6:30. That's when you got to go into bed in 1970. And so they're in bed, but they have their windows open, and then they see that their neighbors are like right next to them. Like there's about 5 feet of space separating their house from their neighbors, the Higgins. And the Higgins also have their windows open, so you can basically hear each other fucking breathing and snoring and farting all night. There's no question. Jerry McCoy, welcome to the stream. Lil bro with the fro, welcome. Hope you're doing very well. But you could hear each other, no problem, chat. They are directly in front of each other, like 5 feet. Their bed's maybe a good 10 feet. Very close to the windows. And then you see the Higgins' lights come on, and they're all like, hey, what are you doing here? What's going on? The dad's like, oh, jeez, like, hold on, calm down. And then he goes over, and then you just hear this go, ah! You hear this fucking scream as all the dad's blood just explodes on the wall and on Mrs. Higgins. And then this person comes in there, and the lights will go out. And then the forms, good old John and Mia, they're like, did you hear something? It's like bull fucking shit. You would hear a blood curdling scream going, you would just, obviously. Divine Miss Klein, thank you for the 100 biddies. Thank you for the Pride biddies. Happy Pride Month, chat. You can salute. Darren will have to catch the review on video. Hope all's well. All is cool. Chris can't stay. Well, sadly, you know what? Just to let you know, Divine Miss Klein, I had someone come in here to work on my AC, and the AC is still not working. But we know the problem now, apparently. And Sage Snake, thank you for resubscribing. 6 months and a 3-month streak. Cheers and salute to you both. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. So hopefully it'll be fixed by tomorrow, chat. We shall see. They're working on it from 9 to like 1. Oh, Lord. Your buddy John, welcome to the stream. John Roma, everybody. Good to see you, John. Hope you're doing very well. Currently in the middle of my review, my scene breakdown of Annabelle. Thank you, Il Apocalypse of the 10 biddies. Appreciate that. Again, a pleasure to have you here in the chat right now. But, fucking we assume Mr. and Mrs. Higgins they're the murder chat. And John and Mia, they were like, did you hear something? And John's like, huh? She's like, I think I heard our neighbors like say something. And they're like, oh, I mean, honey, come on, let's, that's their privacy. Their privacy, they're both their fucking windows open. By the way, no screens, which is weird. No screens on the windows, so all the fucking bugs and wildlife just going in, just in and out all the time, chat. You got a fucking family of possums living in the Higgins home. It's probably what murdered them, chat. They're like, give me all that shit and stab, 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 bite. That's probably what happened. But she's like, I think we should go check on him, just make sure everything's okay. And he's like, all right. He gets up. Chris, I think with the 5 minutes. Had to go back and catch up with the fly bit. Congrats on making it more intense for some movie than John Linetti. Goddamn right I did. It was far more exciting. I killed the fuck out of that fly. I beat him, shit. I beat him. But they get up. I think it's my buddies. They get up, and she's like, I think you should, because she's all like, I think you should call the police, And he goes like, it's okay. I'm sure everything's fine. They might have just stubbed their toe or something. It's like, don't worry. And she's like, okay. And, he leaves, and she's just sitting on the porch, and, wind chimes are all acting spooky or whatever. It's bullshit. Who cares? And eventually, though, she starts waddling out there. He's like, John, is everything okay? And then she sees the Higgins front doors is bashed open. He runs out. He's like, call the police. He's like, oh my fucking God, what happened? He's like, just call him. No details. Just call the police. It's like, all right. And so she waddles back in the house like, waddles back in there, chat. She gets on the rotary phone, so it takes 5 fucking minutes to dial anything. And she's like, hello, police. And meanwhile, you just see this crazy woman who's wearing this bed sheet just walking in the house and just going every direction because she, as you know, and she could obviously in the peripheral vision of Mia, but as we all know, when you're pregnant, apparently you just lose your peripheral vision. It's like you're like a fucking horse at that point. You got blinders on the whole time. You just can only see what's in front of you. I don't understand it yet, but that's how it is. And so you got this random lady in a bed sheet just walking around, and Mia's on the phone. She's like, hello, police. There's like blood and stuff. Like literally this is dialogue. There's blood and our neighbors and I don't know what happened. Come quickly. Goodbye. And she hangs up. You never hang up on 911. That's like, no, you don't do that. That's your number one. They always keep you on the fucking phone the whole time. And she's like, thank you. Goodbye. And she hangs up the phone. Stupid. And so then she's like, oh God. And she like passes by like the baby's room and you got this crazy broad and she has the Annabelle doll just holding it like, yeah, I love it. That's so good. I love it. And then Mia, she waddles into her room and then she hears the girl say, I like your dolls. And she turns around, she sees this woman, chat, in this nightgown, holding, like, all blood all over, holding the Annabelle doll. She's like, oh my fucking God, Jesus Christ. And then this creepy bald guy comes up behind her, chat, and just, I'm gonna stab you. And he just starts stabbing her in the tummy. I'm like, oh no, the baby. He goes right in there. And she's like, ah. And she falls down. She's like, oh. But then fucking John MVP in the scene, chat, he fucking just comes in like, and he just starts beating the shit out of this guy, just pummeling, him the entire fucking time. He's like, ah. And, but then the fucking crazy lady, she's like, ah. And she's like, you're gonna fucking die, you better in hell, like doing all that shit. And John, he runs over to her and starts just punching her in the goddamn face, shit, just beating her. But then the guy, he like gets up. He has like, where's my baby stabber? Where's my baby stabber? And he gets his baby stabber, chat. Cause man, they love the baby stabbers in these haunted house Conjuring verse films. But he grabs his baby stabber, chat, his baby stabbing knife, and he goes over to finish the job. And the cops show up immediately. They're there, and they just go boom, 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 and they instantly shoot him. They put 4 fucking bullets into him. Meanwhile, John, I think he gets like cut or something on the thigh or something. And the crazy lady, she runs into the baby's room and she locks herself in there. But Chad, this is all in the span of maybe 3 minutes. There is no fucking way the cops got there in time. Maybe a half hour they'll show up. Unless they were on patrol like down the street. There's no fucking way they would have shown up that fast. I don't believe it. Well, they kill that guy. And Mia's like, oh God. She's like holding in her pregnant belly because she got stabbed there. And these cops are like, open up, man, open up the door. And they fucking open the door. They go boom, boom, boom. And they shoot a whole bunch of shit, chat. Oh, God, what happened? Eventually, they wheel out Mia, chat. They put like some gauze on her pregnant tummy. She's like, oh. And the husband's like, it's okay, everything's gonna be just fine, everything's gonna be just fine. And her peripheral vision starts working. And so she looks to the side, and the baby's room, we see the girl. She looks like she slit her own fucking throat. She had the Annabelle dolls like in her arms and shit. She's like, still not doing nothing shit. Annabelle's still not doing shit. I mean, consistent. You have to give Annabelle that. She does shit. She does not do shit consistently. And there's this weird fucking like horned symbol on the wall and like drawn in blood. It's like, is odd. But they got out of there. And we come back to go, thank you for the babies. Unrealistic that cops would be there that fast. Realistic parties that they would shoot. Yes. No, like immediately. But everyone's getting out of the house. The cops are like, well, I guess we're finished here. And we see the dead girl, and she starts like bleeding from her like her neck wound when she slit her throat, and the blood starts like going onto Annabelle's face, and it all gets absorbed into her eyeballs, and she just starts getting weird looking. That's when she starts looking like this. I mean, she was already pretty fucking creepy. That's when she gets like really gray and gets like these weird veins, and her clothes get all matted and gross, and her hair gets all gross, and her eyes get like really red. It's when she got that girl's blood inside of her. We then cut to the hospital, and everything's fine. Baby's good. Did not puncture the amniotic sac. Sac is still looking good. Belly got a little stab wound, but belly's okay. Babies, there's maybe a little trauma to the cervix, of course, but that's just because of the episode. But overall, perfect health. And she's like, oh, thank God. And so they just go back to the house the next day, and apparently they cleaned up the whole scene. Like, they didn't shut it down, or like, we're going to put you in a hotel for now, as you would expect they would do, chat, with this situation, because this is a fucking murder investigation. Like, nope, next day, it's all cleaned up, don't worry about it. And they just blame it on, all these crazy cults, like, because it's like Helter Skelter, chat. This is when fucking Charles Manson, his ilk, were running around and shit during the early 60s, late 60s, early 70s. And they're like, oh yeah, Helter Skelter, don't worry about it. It happens all the time in California. It's like, really? It does? But they clean up the entire fucking crime scene, chat, nothing. But the only person who's still there just waiting for him is Annabelle. She's like, hey, it's up. And she's just in that rocking chair, just like, the whole fucking time. And because she waddles in, the doctor says, you have to stay off your feet the entire time now, okay? You can maybe go to the bathroom, of course, by yourself, but outside of that, bed rest. She's like, okay. And the husband, although he works at the hospital, so he has late nights and stuff. And he's like, well, I'll take some time. She goes, no, you got to earn the fucking money. You got to bring home the bacon. We got to pay off this house. He's like, okay, fair enough. All right, fine. But she said, like, the first thing you need to do is get rid of that fucking doll right there. I fucking hate it. And he's like, but I got a gift for you. But it's tainted because the girl was bleeding all of her girl blood inside there. And he's like, all right, fine. And so he takes the doll and he throws in the fucking dumpster, within the span of 5 minutes. And Annabelle's just like, oh, you fucked up. You threw me out. I'm going to fuck with you the rest of the movie. Well, kind of, in a way. Also, we find out, because this detective comes by, I don't know it doesn't matter what he is. The detective, it doesn't matter. Clive, we're going to call him Detective Clive. He stops by and he reveals that the daughter of the Higgins, Annabelle Higgins, was the one who came in there with her boyfriend and murdered them. And it's because her name is Annabelle, get it, haha. And they assaulted you, and yeah, her and her boyfriend were apparently a part of a satanic cult, and they were trying to summon Satan, as you typically do, chat, when you're in a satanic cult. But don't worry, we're investigating this. We're going to put a stop to the Satanism. And they're like, cool, thanks, detective. And then the husband, John, he comes home one day. It's all stupid fucking bullshit. There's so many scenes of supposedly scary things, but they're not scary. Like, countless ones for the next 25 minutes, where it's Annabelle, her spirit demon form or whatever, like, goes in the living room and turns on the sewing machine, and John walks into the living room and turns off the sewing machine, goes back to bed, but then the sewing machine starts up again. It's like that. That's the horror. And it goes, da-da, like all this creepy music. It's like, oh, and he goes back and he turns it off again. He goes back to bed. But then it turns on again. Oh, my God. And then he unplugs it and he goes back to bed. And then it turns on for a third time. What? It's shit like this. And then one day he comes home and his wife's like, I'm so pregnant. And she's like, I'm going to feed you, wife. She's like, yes. And he gets her pickles and mustard and Doritos and Cheetos. She's like, oh, put it all inside my prego tummy. She's having a fucking ball. But the thing is, he's doing this because he's got to work an extra night at the hospital, so he's not going to be here. He's got to go on a trip, too. It's like a day trip. She's like, don't worry about it. I'm just going to stuff myself full of Doritos and pickles and cheesy poofs, and I'll be great. He's like, also, I got you popcorn. Do you want any popcorn? And she fucking falls asleep, like watching the TV. She's been stuffing herself. And he's like, who else? And he leaves the fucking popcorn in the stove, but he turns it off. But he's like, oh, that popcorn's that's gonna play a role later on in the movie. And so he leaves the next day, and she's watching TV. She's also, like, messing with her. This is her own fucking fault. This wasn't Annabelle fucking with her. She's, like, on that sewing machine, and she ends up, like, cutting her fucking finger. She's like, ow, Jesus fucking Christ. And it's, like, a stupid, dumb jump scare. She's like, ah! But she cut her own hand. She goes into the bathroom and she cleans it. Meanwhile, Annabelle, the spirit or whatever, turns on the oven where the popcorn is on, and it starts popping until it explodes and it creates a fucking fire. And she's like, what's that smell? Oh my God, what's burning? And she waddles out there. She's like, oh, and the whole fucking kitchen is on fire. Like, immediately, chat. It's like those fucking, like, tinfoil popcorn poppers were very dangerous back in the day because the entire fucking kitchen is ablaze. And she's like, no! And she's, like, trying to waddle out, chat. But then, apparently, chat, Baron Bino Tarantino, the ghost, was like, I'm going to help you out, Annabelle. We haven't met each other yet. Because he just starts grabbing, what's her name? Mia's feet, and starts dragging her via the feet. She's like, no! But thankfully, chat, some other neighbors, like, burst in the fucking house like the Kool-Aid Man, and they drag her out, and the whole house sets on fire. We then immediately cut, and we see Mia in the hospital, chat. She's not pregnant anymore, and John's like, what happened? What happened? She's like, look behind you. And they have their daughter, and it's a daughter. It's like, oh, convenient. Now you can have an excuse to have all those fucking creepy dolls in the room. And, you know, she's holding, she's like, she's beautiful. She's so beautiful. And she goes, yeah, I know. He's like, what happened? She goes, I don't understand. Like, the house is on fire and the popcorn. And it's like, there's let's explore this. Let's explore this. But he's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to find us a new place soon. And it's like, we should talk about this. There's some weird, creepy shit that's going on. But they're like, nah, don't worry about it. And so then they move into this apartment complex, which, you know, this is how a movie goes. And so they're unpacking all this bullshit. And all the creepy dolls are put in the daughter's room and stuff. And this one box, the Annabelle doll is there. And she's like, what? And John sees the Annabelle doll. He's like, I could have sworn I threw that out. And she goes, well, you know, moving, just get confused. She's like, no, I'm pretty sure I threw that out. And she goes, no, it's fine. It's okay. I'm like, it's just a doll, and you gave this to me. This is a gift that you gave to me, your loving wife, the mother of your child. And by the way, the doll is looking fucking grosser than ever. It's like, before it was like, it kind of has like a skin tone, like a regular skin tone. Now it's just gray and green, and it's got veins, and it got bloodshot eyes. It looks like how it looks now. And the dress is rotting, but she thinks, oh, this is perfect for the baby's room. It's like, no, let's not put this disgusting, moldy piece of shit in the baby's room. It clearly is just covered in asbestos and lead paint. But she's like, I don't give a shit. And so she puts it there. And then for the rest of the movie, it's the same shit I told you, chat. It's just doors opening. It's the sewing machine going on, lights flickering, all that stuff. One day, there's also like a bickering couple upstairs, like abusive couple, but that has like it doesn't play like a role in the rest of the movie. I think it's just because you like hear footsteps all the time, and then one time you hear footsteps and it's not the couple upstairs, it's like, it's Annabelle walking around, maybe, I don't know, it doesn't matter. And like, Annabelle will just move from place to place occasionally. Like, sometimes she'll be sitting on the shelf, then she'll be in the rocking chair, just rocking randomly. She'll be on the floor for no reason. Not moving. You don't see her move except for one scene that's coming up in a bit. For the most part, she's doing nothing. Eventually, Mia, she takes, I forget the name of the daughter, like Lauren or something. But they take the baby out. She takes the baby out, and she's walking on the stairs. She's these kids, like, playing on the stairs. Like, they're just not playing, but they're, like, the girl has her own doll, and she's combing the hair of the doll. And the boy's drawing these pictures and stuff. I love, you know what? These are the most well-behaved kids I've ever seen in the movie. And this kid is fucking smart. The boy is very smart. I'm like, I like this. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movies because I rarely see this of, like, wise kids who know what the fuck they're doing and know they shouldn't talk to strangers. But, you know, little boy, he sees Mia coming down. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. And he moves to the side. He goes, oh, thank you. And she's, like, walking down and stuff. She sees, like, the girl with the doll. And, like, she's like, oh, is that your dolly's name? What's the doll's name? And she goes, the doll's name is Annie. And she goes, that's a beautiful name. What's your name? And the boy says, you shouldn't speak to her. We don't know who she is. She's a stranger. And she goes, that's very good. That's very responsible. But what's really your name, though? And she's like, no. And the boy's like, no, we don't know who you are, okay? Don't talk to her. And she goes, well, fine, fuck you then. It's like, I love the kid. He's so mature. I love that. He's like, don't talk to me, you know who she is. And she leaves. And then she's walking out, and she passes by this bookstore where all on display, chat, is books of the occult. It's like, you really want to lead with that in this time period where it's 1970, everyone's fucking freaked out by Helter Skelter and shit, and you're like, oh yeah, we're going to put in our front exhibit just books on the occult. It's like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't think people might have an issue with that in your neighborhood. But then we're introduced to the character, chat, of Evelyn, played by Alfre Woodard, who has been in a ton of stuff. She played Black Mariah in the Luke Cage series. And what they do to Alfre Woodard in this movie, chat, is a goddamn sin. It is so fucking offensive what they pull, because what she serves as, chat, we have the mystical, magical black man in this movie. They changed it up a little bit, chat, because we have the mystical, magical black woman who helps the young white couple. That's what this fucking is. They did her dirty in this movie, chat, because Alfre Woodard, and throughout the movie, she's like, oh, she sees me and she's like, oh, it's so beautiful to see a mother and her child out here walking. What's your name, girl? And she goes, my name is Mia. This is my daughter, Lori. Where the fuck the baby's name? She's like, oh, reminds me of me and my daughter when she was alive. When she wasn't fucking dead. It's like, okay. It's like, oh, that's so great. Bye, I gotta go. And so she, you know, the thing about me is, that exhibit would never be in the South and Midwest. They burn that shit to the ground. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is in San Bernardino, California, so very liberal place. But still, it's like, this is when the Helter Skelter and satanic cults were like all the rage in the media. And I don't think you would lead with that in your front case of your bookstore, your front window. It's a little weird. But she walks away and whatever. She does some stupid errand. She comes back to the apartment, and she's going up the stairs. And she sees like one of the pictures that like the little boy drew, and it's her and the baby. And then there's like, it's like, oh, it's so pretty. It's like, this is nice, and it's a piece of shit. Like it's like a fucking her and a stick figure, and the baby's like a little stick figure. And she continues up the stairs. She finds more of these pictures, and then she starts like seeing like a green truck in the background, and all these pictures like suddenly start like falling from the sky. And she like grabs them. She's like, what? And the truck's getting closer to them each and every single time. She's like, what's going on? Until like the last picture is like the fucking truck like hits the baby, and it's just all baby juices everywhere. She has a big bloody pile of baby pulp, and she's like, oh no. And then we cut, and she shows this to John, and John's like, well, I mean, the form here is not great. And she's like, it's not funny, John. It's not funny. It's like, we should tell the parents about this. And he's like, all right, but we shouldn't lead with that. She's like, well, I would want like parents to tell me if fucking Lori, where the fuck the baby's name is drawing stuff like this. He's like, it's okay. We'll talk. They never talk to them, by the way. Never see the kids again. Like, whatever. You assume that Annabelle drew the pictures. I think. I don't know. I guess so. Stranger Shoot, thanks for the 5 days. I blame you, Tony. Tony Stark, always creating supervillain shit. Annabelle, also his fucking mistake, chat. What happens next? Oh yeah, after that, more doors open and whatever. All that shit. Eventually, one day, Mia, she's going down. Oh yeah, that's the thing. So isn't it weird? I didn't know they had this. So apparently in their apartment complex, in the basement level, they have like these cage link, like these cages, these chain link like cage closets in the basement where you can put some of your excess furniture and stuff, and it's assigned to a tenant. I didn't know they had this back in the day. It's like, oh, it's kind of cool. I know people like get garages, of course, for some apartments and things, or it's like for condos, but they literally have like chain link closets in the basement. I guess that was a thing in the 60s or 70s. And she's like taking something downstairs that she doesn't really need anymore, and she goes, and it's all creepy as fuck. And she puts it in there, chat. And I missed an earlier scene. So hold on. Before this scene, she's like doing some fucking errands one day, and all of a sudden she starts getting the vapors, and she has like the baby carriage like starts going behind her like something's controlling it, and it goes out in the fucking middle of traffic, and boom, this fucking huge green truck hits it, and it like destroys everything inside. But she had the baby the whole time, Chad, and a little like baby like carrier like in front of her, and she's like, oh my god, it was like the pictures from before, and then she's like, oh whatever. And then chat later on again, she's like putting something down in the basement area of the apartment complex. It doesn't matter what it is, because when she's like, you know, moving some stuff around, we see this fucking baby carriage just like roll out. We hear this wah, wah, just this fucking wailing, and she like walks out and goes, I wonder what that is. And she's walking forward, Chad, like da 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 da, and it's like this bloody like cloth, and it's like there's something moving in it, but it looks so fucking fake because it's going like da 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 like really fast. Like they have some shitty animatronic under there, but she takes it off, and there's nothing. There's nothing. And then she like looks to their side, and there's a big black goat demon going, Bleh! And she's like, oh! And she fucking runs away. She runs away, and she goes in the elevator, and she presses like to the fucking 8th floor, because they're on the highest floor. And like the elevator's like, all right, and the doors close, and they open up again. They're still on the floor, and the goat demon's like, and she's like, oh! She hits the button again. Elevator doors close, and then they open up again. The goat demon's like, like this happens not once, not twice, 3 fucking times. Back to back to back. And like she hits the button one more time, elevator closed door, and then they open again. The goat demon's not there. The goat demon's not there, Chad. She's like, oh, Jesus. But thankfully, Chad, she's not pregnant anymore, so her peripheral vision's back, and she sees the exit sign. She's like, oh, oh, oh. And she runs in the direction. She goes, up the stairs all the way up to like the 8th floor. I don't know why you just run out to the fucking street, but she's like, I gotta get upstairs now. She thinks she gotta like save the baby or some bullshit. I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter. But she's going up the stairs. And then she stops because she turns around because the fucking goat demon is literally just sitting on the bottom stair, just like, sup. And then it teleports immediately and goes, bleh! She's like, oh my God! And then she continues running up the stairs. Eventually she gets there and she's all fucking traumatized, and John comes home and he's like, all right, well, we gotta call the fucking priest. We gotta talk to the goddamn priest. That's what we gotta do next, okay? So they put a call on the priest, and he's gonna show up in a bit. Meanwhile, Mia, she's gonna go ahead and go to the bookstore, get some books on the occult, and that's when Alfie Woodward comes in and wants to assist her and help her. And she's like, what do you need, girl? And she's like, I think my house is haunted. She goes, shit, your house is haunted? Damn, okay, I'll help you out, no problem. You need this book, you need this book, you need this book, you need this book. That'll be $255. She's like, really? She goes, really? She's reading all these occult, none of them come into play. All the books she gets, she does not use them in any capacity. She just has them. But she starts to form like a relationship with Alfie Woodward's character. As you know, because she's playing Alfie Woodward's playing the role of the mystical, magical black woman. But eventually the priest comes by and he looks at the doll and like, oh yeah, that fucking shit's creepy as fuck. Yeah, that's possessive, some evil bullshit right there. And he goes, hey, listen, but don't worry about it. I'm just gonna take the doll, right? I'm sure nothing bad's gonna happen, and I'm gonna get in contact with this couple in Connecticut. They're called the Warrens. They specialize in this stuff, so they actually name drop the Warrens, but they're not in the movie at all. You know, I guess when we see part of the conversation at the beginning of the film, but they're not, we don't see them or we don't hear their dialogue. He's like, don't worry about it. And she goes like, Padre, are you like really sure? He's like, oh yeah, I'll be fucking fine. I'm just going to turn on the game, head to the church. No problem, no problem. And he goes downstairs carrying the fucking doll out there. Annabelle's just like, yeah, I don't like what you're fucking doing here. I don't like this. DD looks at the 5 minutes. So $255 wasted, exactly. Also, there's another scene. I'm sorry. So after she comes back home, before the Padre takes her, she comes back home with all these books, which she does not read. And she like hears like Annabelle like rocking the chair in the baby's room. And the baby's like in the living room just playing with fucking blocks and shit. And she goes in the room, the woman, you know, Mia goes in there and she looks at Annabelle. She's like, you're a fucking evil little bitch. And then she like about to walk up in the door and fucking slams in her goddamn face, like breaks her nose. She's like, fucking Jesus. Actually, she doesn't even do that. She just slams in her face. And then she looks under the door and she sees like all these fucking books almost falling on the baby. And the baby's just like, the fuck is happening here? Just looking around like, who's throwing books at me? It's just very weird. Eventually, Mia, she breaks through the goddamn door and she grabs the baby. And then, like, Annabelle's, like, in the middle of the room, just, like, by this curtain, just kind of sitting there and just looking at him. And then Annabelle, chat, for the first time ever, actually does something. She stands up. She actually goes, whoop! She stands up and then starts floating. And Mia's just like, Hey, let's see what happens right here. Holding her daughter. And the daughter's like, bitch, let's get the fuck out of here. And she's like, now I want to see what happens. I've never seen her move before. And Mia just stands up, and then the fucking black demon appears, the kind of the ram demon goes, ah! And she goes, ah! And then the husband comes home, and that's what they call the priest. So the priest comes over, and he's like, oh, don't worry, I'll take her off your hands. I'm going to give this to Warrens. They know how to deal with it. They'll put it behind a glass case, and they'll have a priest come by like every other month and bless it, and you'll be fucking good. No problemo. And they're like, great. Fantastic. And so then he's on the road, and he's driving, and Annabelle's just like, I'm going to fuck you up, old man. Because then we see this ghost girl also in the back of the seat, and the priest just does not notice her, and she's like, oh, yeah, we're going to fuck him up. No problem. Eventually gets out of the car, and all the scares are just, like, they telegraph everything. Because he gets out of the car, and the ghost girl's, like, literally just standing outside the car, like, looking at him, like, ah! And, like, you know, he just doesn't see her. And he goes up to the church steps, and then he opens the church door, and he finally gets like, it's like I get a chill up my spine or something. He turns around, and he sees the ghost girl going, ah! And he goes, ha! And he turns around, and then the fucking, I don't know, apparently in the chat, you know, I don't know what happened, but I guess Annabelle got like a sonic boom weapon, because he is just immediately blasted all the way back, chat, and then head hits the fucking concrete like a fucking ripe melon chip. Brains, blood everywhere. It's like, that's not great. That's not great. Not looking good. And, you know, but the paramedics go there and they're like, oh, he's okay. We'll put his head back in there. It's like he's Humpty Dumpty or some shit. And they take him to the hospital. And meanwhile, all these nuns are like, oh, doing prayers and blessings over him and shit. And John, he shows up there because he works at the hospital, coincidence. And he's like, Padre, what happened? He's like, that fucking doll, man. She blasted me with like a sonic boom or whatever. I don't know. Listen, you got to get home to your wife because the doll wasn't there anymore. And clearly the doll is looking for a soul. They want a soul. They want to steal your soul. And he's like, oh, jeez. I'll get home after my shift. And he's like, all right. Meanwhile, we cut back to Alfie Woodward and Mia, and they're hanging out in the house. And we hear about Alfie Woodward's backstory because, you know, she's like talking to Mia about like, you know, possession and haunted houses and ghosts and bullshit. And, you know, we see like Alfie Woodward's wrists where they're like she tried to commit suicide years ago. And she's like, oh, yeah, you're probably looking at these, right? Well, you know, as you know, I was a mother. And I lost my daughter a number of years ago, and she was about your age, actually. How old are you? She's like, I'm 29. She was 29 to this day. She's like, okay. And she's like, we were visiting the in-laws, and you know how stressful that can be, right? Just tuckered me out. And, you know, the daughter was driving, but I wanted her to take a break from driving, so I started driving, but I was just so sleepy. And the last thing I saw right before I hit that fucking truck was her looking peacefully. And then I saw her get ejected from the fucking car and hit a goddamn lamppost and fucking explode everywhere. But other than that, love my daughter. I woke up 3 weeks later and told me what happened, and I just couldn't live with myself. And I tried to kill myself, but my daughter visited me. My daughter, and this is her dialogue, her daughter visited her and said, now is not yet your time. Now is not yet your time. And she told me something very specifically. And maybe someday, Mia, and I'll tell your husband this too, maybe someday I'll share that with you. And she goes, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, they hear like a loud fucking knocking at the door. And they're like, what the fuck is that? And Mia, she goes to the door and she puts little Lori, where the hell her name is, down the crib. And it's the Padre, except he's standing like she looks through the little keyhole. And we see the Padre, but it's like from his back. You don't see him. He's all acting like he's like fidgeting, going like that. It's like, that looks a little weird. But she opens the door and she goes, Padre, is everything okay? And he goes, everything is fine. Everything is fine, my dear. Except I would like to swallow your daughter's soul. And she's like, oh! And she closes the door. She slams the door. She's like, oh my God, it has the Padre. Everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about, girl? She's like, it's the fucking Annabelle demon. I don't fucking know. And then they turn around because they hear something like this. They hear something like crawling, and they look up, and the black goat demon's like, hey, how you doing? Blah! And he fucking just bashes Alfie Woodward in the face. And she's like, eh! And she flies back. She flies back out of the apartment, and the black goat demon like shuts the goddamn door. Mia's like, eh! And she starts running around, and she goes to like her daughter's room, and the daughter is gone. The daughter is not fucking there, and she's like, where are you? Oh my fucking God! And she's like looking around the house and shit. Eventually, she goes back to the daughter's ear. This here says, here's this baby crying, and she goes and she's in the crib, and it's the Annabelle doll. She's like, you have my daughter. She grabs, she's like, where's my daughter? She just starts fucking shaking the Annabelle doll, and she's just like, fuck it. And she just starts hitting Annabelle like all around them, like hitting on the side of this metallic baby bed, like hitting all the walls, just throwing it around. She's like, yeah, fucking do it. It's finally something's happening. And then eventually she's like, where's my daughter? And she just throws it into like the little bathroom that connects her daughter's room. Connects to their daughter's room, and eventually she's like, huh, and she opens her eyes, and we see the bloody fucking mass, pulpy body of her daughter's body over there. And she's like, oh my God, it was the baby, chat. She was slamming the fucking baby into the walls, into the baby bed, all that shit. She's like, oh my fucking God. And she goes over there, except it's not bloody. It's just, she's just like, oh no, what did I do? And then we hear it go, and she looks down. It's like one of the other dolls. She's like, fuck you, Annabelle. It was a trick, a manipulator, chat. It manipulated her. Eventually, the door to the baby room's open, and this fucking like crayon rolls through, this red crayon, and she like picks up the crayon. She looks up, and it says, I want your soul. I need a soul. I need her soul. And then Mia's just like, I understand what you need. I understand what you need. And then eventually, like John, he's running home, and Allie Woodward, she's trying to get into the door. She's like slamming. She's like, ask Mia, open up the door. And John's like, move, I got it. And they open up the door, and they run into the hallway. They run into the baby's room, and Mia has the Annabelle in her hand, and she's like about to jump out the fucking window. And they're like, what are you doing? Honey, what are you doing? She's like, I need to do it. I need to sacrifice myself for my daughter. She won't leave her alone, and I promise I would like protect her forever and shit. And she's like, but this is not the way. And she's like, don't do this. And Alfre Woodward, chat, she walks up and she says, don't do what the doll wants. Now is not your time. It's just like her daughter told her those years ago. She's like, oh my God, Alfre Woodward, you're so right. You're so right. Oh my God, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. And then she fucking slips. She's like, she's about to fall back. But the husband grabs her, chat. The husband grabs her and holds her. And she's like, it's okay. We're going to find our daughter. And then Alfre Woodward, she's like, all right, Mia, this is what I got to do. She grabs the Annabelle doll, and she goes up to the window, and she goes, listen, my daughter, she told me all those years ago that now is not your time. You need to sacrifice yourself for your young, pretty well-to-do, rich white couple, okay? So I'm going to sacrifice myself for you guys. See you later. And she fucking pitches herself out the window. She nosedives. And it's like, but your daughter, it's like, what? And her and the Annabelle doll just go out the window. Boom, hit the concrete. She yeets herself, and as it hits, it explodes on impact. It's like, you. And fucking me and John are like, she will be remembered for her sacrifice. And then the baby's like, I'm back. And the baby teleports back because Annabelle is satiated. And then we cut. It's like it ends. Oh, yeah. Then it cuts to them like 6 months later. Everyone fucking forgot about Allie Woodward. No one remembers Miss Woodward's sacrifice. She was like, all right, whatever. Also, when we cut down to Woodward's body, Alfre Woodward's body, the Annabelle doll is gone. Just disappeared. It's like, all right, whatever. Then we cut to the church, and the priest is all better. He got his brain put back, and he's a little derpy now. He's like, half the time, but he's okay. And, he's just like, oh, John and Mia, you're a beautiful young white couple. And, Alfre Woodward, whatever her name was, she did the right thing. It's like, what? And he's like, just remember that evil exists in this world, and we got to fight against evil, yada, 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 all that bullshit. Never know what happened to Annabelle, though. I wonder what could have happened to her. And then we cut to like an antique shop, and you see this old woman walk in and go, oh, my daughter, she's a med student. Her and her roommate, they love dolls. They're going to love this Annabelle doll. And they go, oh, yeah, they stopped making those years ago. But no, they're so popular to this day. She's like, yeah. And it's Annabelle, and she's creepier than ever. She's even grosser in this scene than she is like in this image. And she buys her, and that sets up the scene where the med students are like, oh, Annabelle, she's like talking and shit, and she can totally be our roommate. And that's when the Warrens grab her. That's what happens. How Annabelle managed to move from California to Connecticut. I will never fucking know. But she apparently hitchhiked or something, chat. But that's it. And then it ends with Annabelle in the case. The Warrens eventually acquired Annabelle, Conjuring, yada, yada, yada. It's everything we saw in the first film. And it was one of the most evil occult objects in their collection. And Annabelle's just sitting in that fucking box, just like, and then it just ends. She doesn't move. She doesn't do anything. She does what she always does, chat, which is nothing. And that, my friends, is Annabelle. A piece of fucking shit movie. Awful film. Boring, horrifically acted, kind of racist. kind of fucked up, in my opinion. Not worth your time, chat. Not worth your time. Knowing what that 5 minutes, thankfully, Annabelle creation. Yes. The sequel, now, however, chat, I'll say this. The sequel, which is also a prequel, is infinitely better. Annabelle actually does shit, and it's a lot of creepy, fucking scary shit. And I'm like, wow, it's pretty good. And there's a lot of characters you actually like. And there's also like different versions of horror, like body horrors in there too, which I really dug. I like that movie a lot. I would get that movie like a high matinee. This one, chat, like the ending, I'm like, okay, this is some old bullshit. This is a low some bullshit. But that fucking ending, what they do with Alfred Woodward, is so to me like fucking offensive. I would say this is the very definition of a fuck you. It's a waste of goddamn time. Do not watch. Oh, or you can watch this movie, chat, or you can with an appropriate commentary. Which I may or may not be uploading very soon. A full-length video and audio commentary available on my Patreon for the $2 tier level. We shall see. But this is bull fucking... Or no, it's not bullshit, chat. It's lower than bullshit. This is a fuck you. Awful film. It's now a good time to mention the main actress went to star in The Mummy and the Guy Ritchie's King Arthur. Good for her. She's making her money. I don't remember her from either film. I saw both those movies. I don't remember her. Yeah, awful film, shit. Awful. It is not better than Socks. No, Socks are better. Socks are even better. Oh, my Lord. Savage Native 921. Thank you for the follow. You're my new Huckleberry. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing very well. Caught bits and pieces, but you made me laugh. I'm glad that my job is done, Divine Miss Klein. I did what I set out to do. Thank you. I'm glad. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. So, Creepy Doll movie over, Chris says. This hiding under a blanket. It is. It's over. It's not creepy. Nothing happens. Very little happens in the film. Oh, Lord. Nexus. Annabelle, basically, that movie sets up other stuff, so it's a setup movie. I guess so, but honestly, they did a better job setting her up in The Conjuring. She does more in The Conjuring. It's a glorified cameo. She's like when she teams up with Baron Bino Tarantino at one point. It's like, this is kind of interesting. But they don't do anything with her. And the movie was a huge commercial success. It was made on $6.5 million, and you could tell because it looks fucking cheap. And it made $257.6 million. Huge fucking hit. Shh, Annabelle can hear you, Mr. Evan. Oh, no! Walks the room and hears a voice come from a creepy-ass doll. Me walks out and burn down the house. I would be like, oh, you're going to do something? I would be so indignant. I'd be like, fucking do something. Come on. Fight me. I wouldn't care. I'd be like, let's fucking go. I would just be annoyed at all the ghosts and the supernatural shenanigans happening in a haunted house. I'd be like, let's just get this over with. Come on. Do it. Of course, it's cheap. The main character just sits there and does nothing. Absolutely nothing. Of course, it's cheap. Yeah. I got it again to voicing movies. Thank you. Yeah, voice acting. I love that. Oh, my fucking God. I think even the producer said this movie doesn't work. We got to step up the game next one. Yep, then they did. They did with the sequel. They absolutely. Chucky got shit done. Like, you can say what you will about those movies, but Chucky did things. He moved around. He was funny. He killed people in unique ways. Like, he was getting shit done. Annabelle doesn't do nothing. At least in this film. She does stuff in the second one. I don't know about the third one. I have not seen it. Maybe I'll see it someday. Oh, Badger think of the 10 biddies. Who did more, Annabelle or Thanos prior to Infinity War? Oh, Thanos. Thanos. He was moving. He was saying things. Yeah, the director was the DP. Director for when Child's Play 3 all comes around. There you go. Apparently, he didn't learn anything from that movie. I've been saying, Mr. Sydney's. Thank you. I would love to do. I want to get in the voice acting someday, chat. That is a dream of mine. It would be incredible to do that, but yeah, old dolls are creepy. I don't enjoy these. No, they're all creepy. Old dolls are always creepy. Like anyone will like, I want to buy that. It's like, no, you don't. That's why the conceit of Annabelle doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, why are you happy to own this fucking creepy thing? And it's like, it's disgusting looking. I don't get it. It never made any sense. And I understand why they went in the direction they did, because, like, we can't make like, the real life Annabelle's a Raggedy Ann doll. We can't make the Raggedy Ann doll, like, scary. But they went in the complete opposite direction. We went too far. And then it becomes unintentionally funny again, much like the Raggedy Ann doll. So, yeah, we can do. I'd be like a bitch. I work in the morning. If you're going to bother me, you better start working for this house. You better start cleaning this house. And it's not free. Pay some bills, girls. Pay some pay. God damn right. Right there with you. Your first VA job is to voice Sonic. Gotta go fast. I can do Sonic. I know I showed up late, but I'm wondering what's the update on your AC situation. So they came in here. They were working on my AC from like 9 in the morning to like 1, so I couldn't work on any other content today. Well, I was able to work on some stuff afterwards, after I finished streaming. And I could tell you the AC is still not working. Apparently they know the problem, though. The wires were crossed weirdly. Like the wires are all mismatched, and they're coming. They're going to rewire my AC system, and that's going to fix it. So we'll fucking see, Chad. I'll keep you updated, but it's still not fixed. You can tell I'm still very sweaty. I'm very sweaty, Chad. My hair is still floopy and floppy. But yeah, thank you for asking, though. I do appreciate that. Oh, Lord, chat. But now, my friends, I'm going to take a brief break. So sorry if that review was kind of short, chat, but again, nothing happens in this film. I covered really the biggest parts of it right now. So we'll see. We'll see. I am doing The Conjuring 2 tomorrow. So please do tune in for that review. That'll be a fun one, chat. But the shenanigans shall continue. I'm going to come back and kind of do a non-spoiler review of A Quiet Place Part 2. You kind of heard my non-spoiler thoughts on Double Toasted this Sunday. But I want to kind of hear from you guys, too, what you liked about, what you didn't like about it. I want to expand upon my original thoughts and kind of ideas for a third movie or something. Again, but all within, like, not dealing with spoilers, of course. So I'm going to be right back, chat. I'm going to refill my beverage. In the meantime, please entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. I shall return. Stick around.